それでは日アセアン経済競争フォーラム
So we will now move on to the next session of the ASEAN-Japan Co-Creation Forum.
セッションは日アセアンの
So ASEAN-Japan Promotion of Co-Creation is the title.
Towards ASEAN-Japan Co-Creation Promotion このセッションでは50周
And in this session, the ASEAN-Japan celebrating its 50th anniversary is trying to consider how they will realize co-creation, and business leaders as well as active people in the area of business will present. What role do the governments need to play? What innovation will be generated by the leaders. So with that, I would like to introduce the moderator and the panelists.
Allow me to introduce all of the moderator and panelists for this session. モデレーターは経済同友会日アセアン委員
The
会
moderator is chairperson of Committee Japan ASEAN Committee, Japan's Association of Corporate Executives, Mr. Hirako Yuji.
Senior Director of Jalan Pokpan Group, Mr. Tani Chialabanon. 海トロン株式会社 Co-Founder President 山田正彦様。Chief Executive Officer of AC
Mitron
Motors Group,
co-founder,
Mr.
Mr.
Jaime
Masahiko
Alfonso
Yamada.
Silvel de Ayala。インスタリーブ株式会社代表取締役 CEO 徳島豊様。Founder and Group CEO of Aerodyne, Mr. Kamal Razman bin Muhammad。そして株式会社シナモン代表取締役 Co-CEO 平野美久様。以上の皆様です。皆様準備はよろしいでしょうか。それではここからは平子様に進行をお願いしたいと思います。平子様よろしくお願いいたします。
Mr. Hirako, please.
はい、皆さんこんにちは。Hello everyone. Thank you for joining this second session. I'm Yuji Hirako, representing ANA Holdings and currently chairing the Japan ASEAN Committee of Keizai Doyukai. It is an honor to moderate this session. This year marks the 50th anniversary of ASEAN-Japan friendship and cooperation. Recently, Karuizawa hosted the both Young Business Leaders Summit and Gen Z Leaders Summit. These gatherings focused on pivotal themes crucial to our collective future, fostering new business collaboration, promoting open innovation, advancing sustainable development, and inclusive growth to establish an ASEAN-Japan co-creation ecosystem. Over the past 50 years, ASEAN and Japan possess numerous advantages and strengths, including geographical and cultural proximity, industrial cooperation, and the allure of Japanese food and culture. However, I suspect that we have not yet cultivated a profound relationship and collaborative framework conducive to fostering innovation. One of the most significant achievements has been the establishment of robust mutual trust between our nations. It is widely acknowledged that maintaining a strong bond of trust between our nations is pivotal to achieving economic co-creation. I suggest exploring potential avenues of collaboration for ASEAN and Japanese companies to sustainably prosper in the future, particularly focusing on fostering innovation. Now, let's move on to our dialogue. However, my primary objective today is how to manage our time within the allocated 60 minutes. Thank you in advance for your cooperation. So my initial question is focused on the new collaboration. First, please introduce yourself and your business with the awareness or the purpose that you have. Most of you participated in the Young Leaders Summit or Gen Z Leaders Summit in Karuizawa. Please share your insights or thoughts on the significance and expectations regarding new collaborations that could produce co-creation of the future between ASEAN and Japan. From the perspective of more focusing on the scope of collaboration between SMEs and startups. Please note, each of you has as much as 4 minutes, not 40, 4 minutes for your speech. Let's start your remarks in this order. The first, Tani, please.
Yes, I'm Tanit Ravanant. I'm the Senior Director for CP Group, but I'm also a CEO for CP Extra, which is our retail business, both the wholesale macro as well as hypermarket Lotus. CP Group is quite a diversified conglomerate. I'm actually the 4th generation of the family, but I would say that the core pillars of the business starts from the agro-food side to retail wholesale, and then also our telco operations. So that's, I would say, the 3 core pillars of the business. The question that was posed today from Hirako-san about co-creation, I think when we talk about large corporates, I think there's already good co-creation that is happening already. So for instance, I'm already working very closely with Toyota on basically committing to the carbon neutrality by the year 2030. So that means that I'm working with Toyota on trucks that are hydrogen fleet, as well as BEV, depending on whether it's mid-mile logistics or last-mile logistics. Other areas as well is to also improve on the supply chain. So I do work with Denso as well on improving the supply chain, especially on the cold chain side of supply chain. Now, moving into small to medium enterprise, I don't want to get into too many details because Masahiko-san will be talking about that, but we already started working. Masahiko-san is an example of SME working with us. So it basically shows that there is co-creation also at the SME level. And I think one recent event that we held in Thailand in November of this year was the ROC event, which basically allowed for Japanese startups and SME to showcase their capabilities and then also implement their business or their startup ideas with large corporations in Thailand. Yeah. So that is just a brief introduction of myself and also some of the examples of co-creation that is already happening.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Tani. And Masa-san, please.
Hi, I'm Masa, co-founder and president of Mission. So we are providing AI and satellite remote sensing technology for aquaculture industry from farm to table. And why we are working for it? I'm originally from aerospace background, and if we observe Earth from the space, so 70% of Earth covered by ocean. So we are living water planet. So why don't we use this, new location to make new opportunity to maintain ocean sustainability? So we provide AI solution and also satellite data to quantify tons of information and automate farming operation. And also by providing it, so we improve profitability for farmers and also ocean sustainability. So one of the future collaboration idea, as Tanik-san mentioned, so I think the collaboration between ASEAN company and Japan to solve social issue is one of the good example. And then I myself now collaborating with CP Group to provide a smart farming solution by providing both capability. So I think today, so I want to talk about it a little bit more, but very excited to hear other people's opinion and experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Masa-san. And next, Jaime.
Hi. Good afternoon to everyone. Just wanted to quickly acknowledge the organizers of today's event, METI, JETRO, as well, of course, the Keizai, the Yukai organization, and Hirako-san as well for helping us here. Good to see the panelists today, that they've survived all the discussions and late nights in Kariwazawa together. For the audience, my name is Jaime Alfonso Zobel de Ayala. I'm the CEO of AC Motors, which is a wholly owned subsidiary under the Ayala Group of companies. We're based in the Philippines. We're the oldest Philippine company. Next year, we're going to be celebrating our 190th anniversary. We have been a portfolio that has been that holds the identity of deploying capital to solve sort of key national pain points throughout the country. So the 4 pillars of our portfolio right now are real estate, banking, telecommunications, and most recently energy. And each and every one of those, when I reflect on the longevity of the portfolio, I think the success has really come from 2 main components. It's been quality partnerships. We've had the privilege of having a very long, extensive relationship with the Mitsubishi Corporation as one of the many Japanese partners that we have in the portfolio. Next year, we're going to be celebrating 50 years with Mitsubishi. So to some extent, they've contributed to the value creation of our company for the last fourth of its life. Partnerships, to a large extent, provide us with the ability to bring in technologies and insights from established markets. We can then localize a lot of those solutions in the Philippines to really tend to the Philippine customer first. So in real estate, to a large extent, we've had partnerships with Japanese industrial companies, Mitsubishi, to really revive some components of the economy. Globe Telecom, our telecommunications company, is a joint venture with Singtel that was instigated to privatize when the privatization of telco occurred to provide more affordable services there. AC Energy has a 5 gigawatt portfolio right now throughout ASEAN and through a various number of JVs. And you know, to me, that's very exciting because the position that I'm in right now, I think, is very fluid. The automotive industry is in transformation. And learning from some of the lessons we had in our portfolio, we want to ensure that we have partnerships that can help guide us through this uncertain period. And so, you know, when we were talking in the Gen Leaders Conference, I think a couple of things had come out. Number one was that we're seeing the global environment change dramatically. It's becoming much more volatile. Change is happening a lot faster. And I think that increases the importance of the kind of partnerships that you want to ensure that you're prepared for that kind of uncertainty. And right now in my current role, that's something that I'm evaluating. We're looking at Japanese partners who have new energy solutions in the mobility space and ways to make mobility much more efficient. I think when we think about collaborations between Japan and ASEAN, I'll just be very quick on this one. I think the opportunities in the open innovation space could be on the venture capital studio environment that we see happening a lot throughout ASEAN. Those are organizations where they test assumptions very specifically, and it makes a really great way to explore innovation efficiently with established partners. And I think the venture capital space is also one that is worth exploring. You have a lot of Filipino entrepreneurs that are solving key pain points in our market. Connecting them with Japanese capital, I think could result in a lot of trade of information and ideas. Would love to explore that at a later point.
Thank you, Jaime. Next, Mr. Yutaka-san, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to talk about Japanese. If you want to prepare a translator, please put it on your ears. My name is Yutaka, Tokushima Yutaka to iimashite.
So my name is Yutaka Tokushima, and I am the CEO of a company called Instaroom. And so this company is basically a combination of 3D and AI technology. And what used to cost about 1 million yen, the plastic legs, for instance, we can offer that at a much lower price. So we are a startup, and so obviously startup as well as co-creation amongst SMEs is one of the topics. So we ourselves are a startup company. So that is one important point I would like to highlight. And so how do startups here in Japan as well as in the ASEAN countries emerge, and what are the possibilities of such startups is my, I think, mission for today's panel. Now, originally, I was a part of a JICA, or I was a JICA member, which is JOCB, which is government volunteers. So, behold, in the Philippines, I lived there for 3 years. And so what I saw there, what some of the social issues that were facing Philippines. So I looked at that and I wanted to solve those problems, and so that is why I created my startup company. So that's the backdrop. So we now have more than 50 employees in Philippines. So for prosthetic legs, we use a location called Makati to produce these prosthetic legs. So ASEAN and Japan, in terms of a startup, I think we are on equal terms. And so myself, being a Japanese citizen working in ASEAN, or vice versa, I do not think that there are any obstacles in the way. So in the case of my company, this borderless co-creation or collaboration, I think if we can promote this and propel this, I think that both ASEAN and Japan can benefit. And that is my perspective or take on this topic. So why am I mentioning this? In my self-introduction, I want to explain to you why I was able to evolve this business. So originally, I said that I was living in the Philippines for 3 years, and I was looking at society from a residential viewpoint. Now, social issues, the fact that I was able to objectively view what was happening, I was able to tune into solutions that perhaps the local residents could not think of. So, for instance, prosthetic legs is something that anyone can access here in Japan. But if I did not have that viewpoint, perhaps I could not found my company because I knew what could be done. Now, for my project, Department and Trade and Industry, or DTI, which is equivalent to METI here in Japan, there is a Fab Lab project that they are promoting. So they are supporting workshops that cater to inventors in the Philippines. And so we created a prototype for this workshop. We spoke with managers, entrepreneurs in the Philippines. And so through collaboration with the local residents, we created our first prototype. And so our first clinical patient was a Filipino citizen. And so this Fab Lab is in existence to promote various innovative ideas in the Philippines. And it is also a center to create creative innovation. And so it is open to somebody like me from Japan as well. That led to the innovation that we are offering. So currently we are in collaboration with the Philippine government. We are an SME. And so as a Japanese company, I'm not isolated because I am an outsider in the Philippines. The Philippines have allowed me to blend into their society, and I do believe that that has promoted the advancement of my company. Thank you.
Showing a great example. Thank you very much. Next, Mr. Kamalulu, please.
Right. Very good afternoon, everyone. I'm very honored to be sharing this afternoon with all of you. Kamaro, my company is Aerodyne. We are a drone data intelligence company. We operate in 35 countries around the world. And what we do is actually we solve industrial and social problems. We solve food security issue. We solve infrastructure issues as well globally. Our relationship with Japan goes all the way back to 2018. We have 5 capital investors in Aerodyne. 2 of the most prominent one is actually Drone Fund. Drone Fund is the largest fund that invests only in drone companies. And we are one of the earlier investing company in Drone Fund as well. And as part of that collaboration, we actually have a very good drone fraternity within the whole ecosystem itself. What is exciting about this is that because drone is a new industry, so there's a lot of advocacy work, there's a lot of effort that needs to get the buy-in of regulators and all that. So all the drone companies within Drone Fund, we get together. In fact, just a few months ago, I was in Okinawa. All the members of the Drone Fund companies were here as well. We think, and we deliberate on how we can promote our industry. Second one that I would like to share is our close relationship with another Japanese entity called Live&S. So Live&S have a philosophy of to advance global happiness through science and technology. And that's actually very much in line with what we do at Aerodyne as well. And through this collaboration, we also work in developing startup around ASEAN as well. So we help Live&S to establish their presence in Malaysia And from there, we also have collaborations throughout the countries in ASEAN, Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia. So many of these events were hosted at our office as well. It's really about how we can all collaborate together, develop technology, and advance this technology to the next level. In my spare time, I'm also a professor in several universities where I talk about entrepreneurship, and also on the board of the Central Bank of Malaysia. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamaluru. And the last, Miku-san, please.
Our company is one of
Hello, everyone. I'm Miku Hirano, founder and co-CEO of Cinnamon AI. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. So the reason that I founded Cinnamon AI is that one is I majored in computer science and made research AI when I was a student. And the second one is that I founded Cinnamon AI 7 years ago, and at that time I was pregnant of the first kid. And now I have three, so it's really hard to survive every day. But anyways, because I became a mother, I realized that there are so many social issues. So at that time, I realized that there is social issue in terms of working, especially we Japanese tend to work a little bit too much. And now, for example, now, especially this year, the change of climate change is really big. So as you see, today it's December, but the weather is crazy. It's really hot in Japan. So now we're making kind of the world worst place for the next generation. So I would like to make this world better and succeed this better world to our kids. So that is my purpose. And so what Cinnamon does is that our core technology is reading documents. So reading documents sounds a little bit simple, but actually it's really difficult because I guess you all make a file every day. But probably maybe by PowerPoint or Word or Excel, actually documents are really complicated. And so that by reading documents, so our clients are mostly in finance sector and manufacturers. And so especially for example, in manufacturer, they make so many blueprints. So it's quite difficult. And by reading it, for example, sometimes we combine the technology with large language model and answering questions or making decision as proposal or finding important information from documents. We do that kind of things. And I guess the reason I'm here is that because so our headquarters is in Tokyo, but we have so many AI researchers from Taiwan and Vietnam. Especially Vietnam is our largest entity. We have around 100 people there. And so we are an AI company. So having AI researcher, which means good talent, is very, very important. So, but in Japan, we don't have that many. So we went to Vietnam and we found so many math talents, math genius, and then we trained them to be AI researchers. So yeah, and as the co-creation between Japan and ASEAN, so I joined the conference in Karizawa, and in my panel discussion, it was with, for example, the CEO of Gojek or a politician from Brunei, and I found they have more advanced technologies than Japan. For example, in Brunei, they had healthcare AI system, which Japan doesn't have at all. And yeah, in Indonesia, of course, they have ride-share service. And in Japan, we don't have it at all. And here, Aerodyne, there's drone system, which we don't have at all. So, but sometimes in Japan, we have a lot more advanced technologies. So I'm really finding how to say, communication and collaboration between us is very important.
Thank you, Miku-san. Okay. Let's move on to the next topic. The next topic is the generating of innovation. Let's say innovation is a chemical reaction that results from the collision of diverse minds. Then diversity is a catalyst for innovation. I invite your insight on the essentials for fostering innovation, considering the dual perspective of harnessing open innovation or startup ecosystem and nurturing individuals who can drive innovative ideas. Leveraging open innovation means the fusion of ideas and technologies from both internal and external sources. Please note, each of you have only 3 minutes for each comment. And Tanit, your remarks in Karuizawa.
4 minutes.
First fish eats only other fish. I heard that. It was very impressive. It means that in the current dynamism, the most important thing is to move fast, regardless of the size of the company. Based on your experiences, what is your expectation and concern regarding leveraging open innovation?
Actually, yeah, the remark I made in the Karuizawa was about, someone asked about large companies and small companies. But I think the dynamic of the market has really changed a lot because it used to be that the big fish eats the small fish. But I think nowadays it's the small fish the fast fish that can eat all the fishes. Mm-hmm. So it means that the market dynamism is changing very quick. Now, how do we tie that into the topic of open innovation? I think open innovation is about a combination of people and technology. What does that mean? I think first when we talk about people is the diversity of people that contributes to open innovation. I can tell from my own experience that my tech team is composed of people from diverse backgrounds as well as diverse nationalities. Mm-hmm. As a result, we also use tech stack or technology from East and West. So I think that's an example of open innovation. The other area that I want to touch on a little bit on open innovation is also about open source technology. I think when we talk about open source technology or open source tech stacks, that actually allows for evening out the playing field for startups as well. Because if you talk about, let's say, ERPs, right? Everyone thinks about 2 names. But nowadays, there's actually open source technology of ERP, which then allows for the startup ecosystem to also contribute and level out the playing field. So I think that's how I would recap my view on open innovation, and from my own experience. Correct.
Thank you for your thoughtful insights. Thank you very much. And next, Masa-san, you are already working on reforming the existing distribution model. Please let me know how you see the possibility of collaboration with other companies and expect open innovation in the future.
Yeah, I think this is a good question. So I think to encourage open innovation, there are 2 important factors for me. So first one is observe uncharted environment from different point of view. So for example, the collaboration between CP Group and Umi-chan. So we are from Japan. We don't have any large-scale shrimp farm. And then, but CP Group provides opportunity for us to observe totally different environment for us. So we could, check all of the operation for farmer and also what is the pain point. Then we have some of the aerospace and the AI background. So we observe this kind of environment from totally different view. Then we can find how we can contribute this kind of a society in Thailand. So the second one is almost similar about the fast fish idea. So I think for innovation to deliver a solution at exact right time. So we should speed up and focus our strong point and also outsource other work as long as possible to deliver solution right time. So if we, make all of a next generation shrimp farm from scratch, So we have nothing. But CP Foods has so many good, quality facility and also know-how. So we could focus on, our strongest. So I think this is quite important. Like I think open source idea is also similar. How to outsource weakness point is quite important. So, but concern to work with like this kind of like other, counterpart, I think also like a risk to decrease speed, because and more stakeholder need more and more, time to make a consensus. So I think, and then typically, all of people work, their typical job. So if we provide new idea, so sometimes they hesitate to start new things. So especially like typical like colleague. So I think we should find like a good person like Tani. He's like looks like a traditional business guy. So he has like open mind and then vision how to proceed with new kind of idea. So we are very, very lucky. So we found like a good like a right partner in CP Food. So that's why so we could like deliver our solution quickly, even if we need to make some consensus. But I think this is quite big concern for open innovation.
Thank you. Thank you. A great comment. Thank you very much. Next, Jaime. Yeah, please.
Well, so I think open innovation to some, I think, could have a little bit of a broad term. And it was, I think, very accurately defined in the earlier sessions. And broadly, we're all kind of talking about these main points about creating relationships that create, a marketplace for ideas and a transfer of product and services so that can incrementally create more value, right? Long-term sustainable value. And I think that there's a lot of different kinds of relationships that you could explore in order to kind of leverage that. There are certain skill sets that I think exist at different markets, right, where you could outsource weaknesses. I thought that was a great way to put it, because there is still sort of an alignment long-term to create long-term value. So where do you put that in? From my standpoint, I've been dealing in a very corporate environment, broad portfolio that exists, and there's a variety of different solutions that I think create that kind of relationship between a couple of groups. I talked briefly about engaging sort of the corporate venture capital relationships between markets. I really like that to some extent because it rewards ideas. It puts capital much closer to the idea a lot faster without some of the bureaucratic entrepreneurship hurdles that you may experience in a developing market like the Philippines. But there is, that's generally in some cases a financial type of relationship, which is helpful. It still instigates ideas, it validates models, it puts people in a position to evaluate what they can leverage from other markets. That's helpful. But something that I've been noticing in terms of a little bit more of a pattern in ASEAN is the emergence of these venture studio concepts. Traditionally in large conglomerates that want to afford exploring innovation a little bit more efficiently. But I'm noticing it a lot around ASEAN. It's happening in some other developed markets. To be on the same page, these venture studios are essentially organizations, usually in corporate environments, that put capital to deploy towards very specific assumptions. So that they know that they can then recapitalize that venture to its next stage. If what's, making the relationship, I think, if there are some hurdles in the relationship between ASEAN and Japan, perhaps, there's a little bit of conservatism in Japanese corporate culture. They're very long-term oriented. They're very sustainable in that. ASEAN can be an excellent source to explore some of those risk-taking behaviors necessary to continuously innovate. And the strong components in the Japanese market, in some cases, are the products, the technologies that need these addressable markets. And so I think, this venture studio concept, in some cases, it might be successful. In some cases, it might not. But what I think is helpful about it is it sets expectations very clearly among partners. You have to clearly identify the pain point that you want to solve in that market. You clearly have to identify the assumptions you need to validate to make sure that you know that you're solving that pain point. And then it allows you, I think, to understand what kind of product or technology you can bring in to explore that innovation a little bit more efficiently. One example for us, I'll keep it relatively brief. We've been exploring, as I had mentioned, solutions in new energy mobility. And it's kind of an open space. There are some models that are getting validated right now. And of course, we're going to put some capital to explore that, but we want to be open-minded. And we had wanted to explore a two-wheel solution in the Philippines that was providing sustainable energy towards mobility. We put together the assumptions. We knew the pain point that we wanted to solve. We just needed technology. We had been able to find it, luckily, in a partner in Taiwan. It's still in early days. But I think it's just one example of the kind of process that could be helpful in setting expectations that allow both markets to do trial and error efficiently. So I think that's a concept worth looking at a little bit closer.
Yeah, thank you. I think you mentioned at Kaluiza the necessity of a common eye that identify global trend. Yeah, how can we share the common eyes for the global trend?
I think this is an excellent forum to do that, right? And the point is to identify those key mega trends that cut across the region, right? So that we can have alignment on how we can make ourselves much more stable as we explore this space. I think, frankly, these are excellent steps from my meek perspective. The concept of AI, right? How do we align on rules and regulations? There's a lot of details that are going to need to be sorted out for these different markets to contribute to this mega trend. What do we do with data privacy? How are we going to manage the power consumption sustainably? Having alignment between different regions, I think, is incredibly helpful there. And not to mention this mega trend of decarbonization. There's a variety of different solutions out there. I think the important thing there is that there's not one solution that solves 100% of the problem, right? And so that doesn't mean it's not worth doing. You should still, I think, to some extent, pursue solutions that are incrementally better. But you need to fill in some of those gaps. And aligning, again, with technologies in the regions, about safety standards, about sustainable energy, is another way to kind of align on those mega trends. So I think broadly setting up the stages through these forums, conversations, and making sure that we bring out the interests of the markets, which frankly are different in different areas, is an excellent start to that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I'd like to move on to the next interest. That is human capital development. What could be considered to cultivate individuals who can create innovation like all of you? And how can these talented people contribute extensively for our future prosperity? Yutaka-san, I have heard that your diverse parents have literally produced innovation.
You have a great example. Your relationship with Japan and the Philippines is excellent.
I'd ask about your opinions on fostering innovative human capitals, including your experience of teaching digital technology to local youth when you joined JOCB.
Okay, thank you very much. So actually,
Okay, so allow me to switch to Japanese. So the question was changed, and so my prepared answer goes out the window. So I just wanted to mention that. But the startup ecosystem, so yes, if you can add some comments about that as well. So the startup ecosystem, I think we've been talking about scale and scaling the ecosystem, and I have not scaled all that much, but I think I would like to focus more on the seed stage in my discussion here. So at the seed stage, I have a few thoughts. And again, as I mentioned earlier, working with the local residents, what they think is common sense or what they've given up. I have that objective viewpoint, I have that objective eye, and watching or seeing the market from that viewpoint, and also working hand in hand with the local innovators as well, is critical to actually promote the seeds of innovation. Now, having said that, somebody outside of the country visiting a local area in the Philippines, some may feel that that's not a good thing. There might be some cultural differences, but the local people have an optimal way of doing things. For people at the outside, it might not look optimal, but for them it's optimal. There might be some religious factors that come to play as well. So the first step is respect. And understand the local lifestyle, understand the local culture. That comes first, and I think that is so important. And in terms of innovation, that is also very important as well, and that is something that I have valued along the way. Now, another point that I would like to highlight in this context is how do you work and grow with the local community? And so, although we say innovators, they're usually just designers or engineers or managers when they start. So we have to nurture them to become innovators. So what do we do? To create this sense of affinity and unification, cultural background differences, language differences, it's literally about placing desks together side by side and working on that same project. So in my example as well, so the Filipinos could not access to prosthetic legs, so I used the Fab Lab, that open innovation facility in the Philippines. I plotted my desk there. I work with the local innovators to pursue this project that I had in mind. So what you create, it's not about creating something and then trying to implement that elsewhere. Rather, it's about working together to solve that local problem. And you do that with respect and caring for the local community. And to generate innovation as well, and also to grow talent as well, I think it's quite important. I hope this answer suffices. And yes, in terms of human capital as well, if you would.
Hey, also, I think very shortly, if there's a way that we can get work visas for Yutaka-san very easily into the Philippines, that would be an amazing way to generate some of the human capital resources. No, maybe that's one concept.
Actually, I totally agree. I think environment is more important than education to get new stuff. So I think we should respect and love and then also learn and challenge in the other countries such as Philippines.
Yeah, totally agree.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Kamaduru, you mentioned that Japan, with its technological advantage, and ASEAN, it's a world-class scale in terms of GDP growth and population, should continue to explore possibilities of collaboration. To achieve your thought, we should develop human capitals who are capable of innovation to tackle social challenges ahead of us. Please comment on this.
Yeah, I think collaboration between Japan and ASEAN is something that we need to strengthen. Both of us have our own respective strength. But I also want to take this from the angle of what startup can bring to this as well, because startup have the agility, the strength, and the speed to make things happen. And I think that's what we wanted to nurture. Even at our organization, we always work with even other startups. I mean, we are also a startup, but over the past 4 years or so, we've worked with 21 other startups around the world. And that's the only way that we, again, do open innovation so that we can bring technology faster to the market as well. And I find that to be the best way to do this, so that not only is faster, and because startup, again, they have the agility. Startup understand and have the drive to do this as well, and more creative as well. In fact, I'm going to quote a statistics here from McKinsey. It says 1/3 of the world economy is driven by only 0.5% of companies, and most of them are startup. So what better place for us to look for talents than to look at startup? So today I have an ecosystem of startup ranging from Latin America, in Europe, in the Middle East, in Australia, and also in Japan. So I think fostering this relationship between slightly bigger startup and a smaller startup or even large organization is actually the way to go, fostering this open innovation.
Okay, yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Yes. And Miku-san, you and I were involved in the sharing the importance of human capital development at the study group of ASEAN-Japan Economic Co-Creation Vision Development. After you participated in the Young Business Leaders Summit, how do you see the human capital development in the ASEAN-Japan framework?
Okay, so first of all, can I talk about a little bit different thing? As in Japan, 20 years ago, nobody was interested in startups. There was almost none of startup ecosystem. At that time, I was a student in the University of Tokyo, majoring in computer science, and I was only the student that started a company by myself. And all of my friends thought I was just crazy. But now, everyone from University of Tokyo wants to start their own company. Why? Because they have seen successful cases. For example, in my department, Parkshaw Technologies or Gnosy, they have seen their classmates are becoming rich, and now they changed their mind. So showing successful case is very important. So in terms of co-creation as ASEAN-Japan, I think making successful case is very important. For example, like Umitron or Installing, so they are succeeding from Japan to entering ASEAN countries, right? So I strongly recommend the Japanese government to invest them to help to go into those markets, and also vice versa from ASEAN to Japan. So I think that's very important. And in terms of human capital, yeah, as I said, in my company, we find math genius in Vietnam, and we educate them by training. But actually, similar things that haven't happened, by collaborating between ASEAN and Japan. So I think, for example, inviting great talents from ASEAN to Japan or vice versa must be very important. As for example, in our company, very super genius people are working for us. The reason is that they can join projects from the Japanese very big enterprise, which they cannot do it just only in Vietnam. So finding an experience that they can usually receive and provide it. So I think that's very important.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm afraid the time is just out of the corner, but I may be ringing my own bell. The Keizai Doyukai is advocating for the establishment of a framework or platform for human capital development or circulation. This initiative aims to unite motivated young talents from ASEAN and Japan, empowering them to address social challenge, and eventually aiding them in commercializing their innovative ideas. Yeah, I would ask your ideas regarding this, Keizai Doyukai's framework, if any, please.
What I heard from Ninami-san of Doyukai at Karuizawa is that he emphasized making a friend is very important. And by maybe Karuizawa and today and probably tomorrow, we have seen each other for this couple of days, and our friendship is becoming stronger and stronger. So I strongly, I would like to ask the Japanese government to keep this, maybe every year.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for your useful suggestion.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
So
yes, sure.
Yeah, I think this kind of opportunity is quite important to make friendship. So, but now we are focusing for working people. I think and more opportunity we should make from young generation, such as elementary school, to meet with ASEAN people, Japan people together, learn about it, respect about it. So I also appreciate if like METI to prepare the opportunity from like a young childhood.
Yeah, good. Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Yeah, only 2 minutes left, and I'd like to correct your voice from the floor, if any. じゃあ石黒さんどうぞ。
As I said, as an opening session, so our midterm plan of the JETRO started this year. And so one of the first pillar is how to establish an ecosystem and to connect with foreign countries. And so that's why we started the project which is called J Startups and also the J Bridge. And so that is small startup company to connect with the Japanese big businesses and also the Japanese startups to connect with the foreign ecosystem. And this event is also one of them. And so today I got the impression that you are satisfied with the participation in the Young Business Leaders Forum, and you mentioned about diversified people gathered together, and so become the friend, and also the trade the information and the experience and the know-how, and so it will be one of the trigger of the innovation, I think. And that's why I was so satisfied with the response of yours, and I'd like to make this event annually. Thank you so much.
Sounds great.
Good. Thank you. This is a remarkable comment from the government side. Thank you very much. Okay, 7 seconds left. Okay. I think I should end this session, and thank you all for your great contribution to our dialogue. I found lots of takeaways from you. Thank you very much. There is a saying that strike the iron while it is hot. Let's move on to the next stage to shape the future at this moment of 50th anniversary of ASEAN-Japan relations. Lastly, I invite everyone to give a big hand to the 6 esteemed guests. Thank you very much.
Round of applause to all the panelists and Hirako-san. Thank you very much for your very fruitful and wonderful informative discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
ありがとうございました。I'm so glad to have been back on stage again after Karuizawa Summit. Thank you very much. 続いてのセッション、アジアゼロエミッション共同体 ASEC を通じたアジアのエネルギー移行は16時20分からの再開予定しております。今しばらくお待ちください。We will resume the next session from 4 to 20 p.m. We will resume the next session from 4:20 p.m. Please wait for a moment until 4:20 p.m. Thank you.